Hey, this is Shiley and you're watching Eat Breathe Books. Hi guys, I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe, of course. I just want to say I'm sorry I haven't posted in a while. For those of you who've watched my videos before, thanks for clicking, and for those of you who are new, thank you for clicking as well. I can sit here with a list of excuses, but we're in a pandemic, so I really did want to come back on this channel and make more videos for you guys. So I thought today would be really fun to talk about a bunch of new releases that I have recently purchased within the past few months, some books that were released in the summer, and then a couple that were released this fall so far. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, obviously I first have to talk about
Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
I was shaking and crying the second that she announced this, and of course I pre-ordered it months in advance. And it took me a while to read because it honestly is pretty long. This is not a wrap up, so I guess I won't really go into that. But for those of you who don't know, for some reason, this is Twilight and Edward's point of view. And it's really interesting because he's a mind reader, so you're also getting the thoughts of a bunch of other people, not just his. So that's always really interesting. And I'll talk about this more in my wrap up, but of course I had to mention this first in this book haul. The second book that I have here is You Had Me at Hola by Alexis Daria. This is her debut novel and it's new adult. I believe the characters are in their late 20s, and it's about a leading lady who is always in a bunch of different soap operas. She's very famous, and suddenly she has to be in a TV show with the most famous telenovela star. There's a lot of family drama involved, and I'm definitely really excited to read this. I've already read the first, I think, 30 pages and really enjoyed it. And it definitely gives me, Jane the Virgin vibes, so I'm excited to keep going with this. The next book that I have is They Wish They Were Us by Jessica Goodman. This is a debut novel as well, and I know that they're adapting it into a TV show, and Halsey is behind it, which is really exciting. I don't know too much about this, and I kind of want to keep it that way because it seems to be some sort of mystery thriller that takes place in high school about a group of girls, and that's really all that I need to know, so yeah. Okay, this next book that I have here is a crazy, highly anticipated release. Jennifer Niven is one of my favorite authors. All the Right Places has been my favorite book for a long time. I also really enjoyed Holding Up the Universe, and so when I heard she was coming out with this book, Breathless, I was just over the moon excited and pre-ordered it right away. I already read this, and if you can't tell by the smile on my face, I loved it. We'll talk about it in my wrap-up, but this book is about a girl who has just finished her senior year of high school, and her dad tells her that her and her mom are separating, and so she goes with her mom to an island where they have family living, and they stay there for the summer, and she falls in love, and she learns a lot about herself, and it's a very emotional, wild ride. Yes, this is another new release that I recently purchased. Okay, the next new release that I have in this book haul is Crush by Tracy Wolff. I also bought Crave earlier this year, and I'm almost done with it. It's kind of like a Wattpad Twilight, but not. Like, it takes place in a boarding school, and it has to do with vampires and dragons. It's really interesting. But I'm almost done with this one, and I'm like kind of liking it. I mean, again, it's not a wrap up, but I'm kind of liking it. My friend's really obsessed with the second one, Crush, so I ended up pre-ordering it, and I think I will end up liking Crave by the end, so I'll be more excited to read Crush hopefully soon. Next book that I have is really controversial. It's Jo and Laurie by Margaret Stoll and Melissa de la Cruz. I've read part of the original Little Women story. I'm not done with it yet, but I really like Greta Gerwig's adaptation, which I know is a little bit different from the books. But this is, well, if I explain what this is about, it kind of spoils Little Women, so I guess I won't really say anything. But let's just say this is sort of like an alternate universe type of situation where if something had gone differently in the original story, then this is maybe where two of the characters would have ended up. So I'm definitely excited to read this and give it my thoughts, but I definitely have to finish reading the original Little Women before I read this one. The next book that I have is Recommended for You, and this is by Laura Silverman. We love supporting a fellow Jewish author. And this book is about a girl named Shoshana whose parents are going through a little bit of a tough time, and she works at this indie bookstore called Once Upon. How cute is that name? And she loves it so much, and there's a little bit of an enemies to lover trope thrown in there, and it's really fun, and it has themes of friendship and family. And as you can tell, I already read this one and I really liked it, so I'll talk about it more in my wrap-up. Anytime I can support a fellow Jewish author, I obviously am on board. Speaking of supporting Jewish authors, I also had to pick up Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and this is about a guy and a girl who are the top ranking of their high school class, and they're seniors, and there's a crazy scavenger hunt, and they really don't like each other, but they decide to team up. So another enemies to lovers or hate to love kind of story. I will talk about this in my wrap-up as well, but yeah, that's just another book I recently purchased. The next book that I have, I'm shocked I haven't fully read yet. I did start it. It's called Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, and if you guys have watched my channel before, you know I love Colleen Hoover. She's one of my favorite authors. And this book is about a girl who comes from a really poor background. She grew up in a trailer park, and both of her parents are dead now. And no, wait, I don't know. Her parents are not in her life. And I believe she goes somewhere else and she falls in love with a guy who's really rich. So it's one of those stories, like little West Side Story type of thing. And I'm so excited to read this. And finally, I have Just a Boy and a Girl in a Little Canoe by Sarah Lanowski. I haven't really read any of her other books. I know she has I See London, I See France, and 10 Things We Did and Probably Shouldn't Have. And I think she's written a book with E. Lockhart, whom I love because she wrote We Were Liars, which you guys should definitely check out if you haven't. But anyway, back to this book. This is a summer read, but I haven't read it yet. So it's a new release to me, and I think it came out in August. No, maybe I'm lying. Anyway, this is about a 19-year-old girl whose boyfriend ditches her for a backpacking trip over the summer. And so she decides to go back to the summer camp that she swore she would never go back to again, the camp that she went to when she was a kid. And then she meets a counselor there and she falls for him, but she's really confused because she still, has her boyfriend in Europe. So yeah, sounds like a fun summer read, and I'm hoping to get to this one soon before it gets more into the fall and winter, even though I live in LA, so it's never gonna be that crazy. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my new releases book haul. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe and comment down below a new release that you've recently read or that you're really excited for. And hopefully I'll come on here soon and also make another video talking about my recent reads. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?